Hi everyone, my name is Sierra. Welcome to Salem Wellness Portal. So, yesterday we discussed the father wound and how it leaks, how that one wound starts to turn into a bigger wound as you get older and as you start to have relationships, not just. And while, yes, this is a father wound and this does revolve around mostly around the relationships that I've had with men, it trickles really into every aspect of your life. It trickles into your self-worth, your self-esteem, your authority, your authoritative state of mind and that type of person, how you show up. It really does trickle into everything. And yesterday, I just discussed how I saw the wound show up for me in relationships. And in part two, I didn't want to just say, oh, well, this is how I'm doing it, and not really have a structured way of what happens once we see that, okay, I've done the work, I have this wound, and it's hurting me in my relationships. How do I now move on from it? And how I do a lot of reflection. I reflect a lot on my life. Journaling. I do media journals where I record myself talking about everything that I need to talk about, because sometimes my mouth is faster than my handwriting. And this has been coming up a lot lately for me because I am tired of relationships. I'm tired of receiving the same type of outcome in every relationship. And this does not mean just in a relationship with a man. This is in all relationships. And two, I have 2 boys in my life. I have 2 young men that I'm responsible for raising, and I need to but I need to close this wound so they can live in a different perspective than what I'm living right now. Because that wound, if you leave any wounds open, it can still kind of leak into the next generation. And I don't want my boys to see how the way that I interact with men is, so it's a awkward, weird way, in a way. And the reason why I'm also bringing this up is because when I go out with my kids, and I don't know if there's other single moms listening or other single women listening, but when you go out with kids and, we meet a lot of people, and, we talk to people, and sometimes we're meeting other single people, or we're meeting the opposite sex. And sometimes my kids are like, my kids is like trying to pawn me off and trying to get me married and trying to make people my boyfriends. And I really started reflecting once things like that started happening more often to me. I really started to reflect more and more about these wounds and how they can affect my children. Anyway, so reflection is the number one thing. And once I have identified that you have this wound, that this wound it's lowering your self-esteem. It's making you feel insecure. It's making you feel not loved. It's making you feel not worthy. And none of those things are true. That is just what the wound does to you. I don't know. That's what the wound does to you. The wound tells you that, well, because this person, because you're a significant person in your life did not choose you, you are now labeled as this. You're labeled, as a bastard. You're labeled as a all of these different words. I think it's even like, like this person you were born out of what? Like, you're labeled as broken. You're labeled as something that is not true. And the thing about labels is we can always take labels off. So now I'm looking at, okay, and my self-esteem, it goes up and down. Like there has been years where my self-esteem has been high and energized. There has been some times when my self-esteem has been low, and because I have let other people reflection of how they perceive me, and I've turned it into the way that I perceive myself. Same thing with the father wound. And when you're picking out relationships, so now I'm looking at the relationships that I've been picking out. I've been picking out relationships where people are avoidant. They do not want to discuss, when problems occur, they don't want to discuss it. They shut down. They eliminate themselves. They kind of abandon the situation. They avoid the situation, right? This person is making me not feel safe, so I'm going to avoid it. While me, I speak up about it. And I noticed that I was attracting a lot of avoidance in my life. And it's because I've been avoided my life from my father, trickling into next I'm 33. So from a child, from a baby, from 0 days old to 33 years old, it has trickled into all of those relationships that avoiding, that's what I know, right? So, so I noticed that, I'm dating men who are avoidant. So I cannot no longer interact with people who are avoidant. I can no longer interact with people who cannot discuss, communicate, that cannot have the type of conversations that I want to have, because that is not the type of relationship, because that is triggering me into another father wound, making it grow bigger. Okay. And that's why also I'm discussing my children, because if my children see that, well, this man avoids conversations with me, and they don't see how two adults in a home who loves each other, who cares about each other, have a cordial conversation, then they too are going to take that, and they are also too going to think that is, oh, well, my parents or my whoever raised me, my guardians did this, so I have to do this. But no, and this is why I said, because I'm raising two young boys, I'm raising men. I don't even think of them as boys. I'm raising literally, they're going to turn into, they're people that are turning into adults. So I have to think, how do I want my kids to see me and my significant other, whether that be, my significant other and I discuss conversations, how we handle conflict, how we interact with each other, when things are heated or when things happen in our lives that we have no control over. How do our response is what's gonna make those boys understand that, okay, this is how my mom, when I'm, this happened to my mom when she was 33. She taught me this, and now I'm 33 and I know how to handle the situation with my own wife, with my own, the people in my life, with the relationships in my life. Right? So that's the step one, is reflection and really looking at where it started, right? And if you want to get a deep dive into processing father wound, I'm also going to be making a mother wound workbook. But I am starting off with the father wound. The link is in the description below, where you can purchase my workbook that will help you have a beginning start to addressing your father wound. And you will be able to purchase. The link is in the description box below if you want to go check that out. I really appreciate it. I think it will be a great workbook for people who are struggling in their relationships and in relationships with partners, who can really find out a lot about what's wrong, but also start making the changes to move forward from the wound and to live the life that they are seeking, that they are living, that they are wanting. Secondly, what else I also do is I watch myself. I kind of have an out-of-body experience when I'm interacting with people. So, and when I say that, no, I'm not having two people in front of me, but anytime now, I am now interacting with everyone in my life or throughout the day. And it's hard sometimes because things happen really quickly. And this is where slowing down in life really comes into play, and why it's so important, because when you're slowed down, you're able to analyze, process, and you're able to actually make a better problem-solving decision when you slow down. I don't know. It's so weird, but for some reason, it's like when Ant-Man gets smaller and what am I trying to say? I'm so sorry. Okay. It's like, I don't know why I thought about Ant-Man, but for some reason, like when Ant-Man gets smaller, the smaller he gets, the faster he is. It's like that. And some people don't know how to practice this technique. I have learned to practice it over the last couple of years. I'm still perfecting it, because sometimes there are still times when I'm human. I make a mistake, or I'm just moving faster than the speed of light, because life is just busy. And I think, so that's something that I'll probably do, is I'll probably put out how to slow your mind down when you're in a crisis. And it's something that I've been working on, especially, for the last couple of years, I've been in crises. So it's so weird how I think that's also what has taught me this, is to learn how to slow down slow down my mind when things are happening really, really fast around me. And I might be freaking out sometimes, but at least once I slow down, I'm able to see it in a faster way. And it's really like Ant-Man. I really don't know how to explain it anymore better. But anyway, when you're interacting with people, taking that moment to say to yourself, am I being triggered? To watch out for the triggers. You have to watch out for certain, just the way that you respond to the person in the conversation. So for me, I started responding differently with people. If I felt like, I would go to the gym and, maybe somebody was saying something to me, but my headphones was on and I got distracted. So I don't know. I just started changing the way that I responded to people. And even when I was in the gym and I got distracted, and I don't know, instead of me kind of clamping up and being so like stiff and tight, I kind of loosened up my shoulders, and I kind of like, you know what? Like, this person's talking to me. I didn't hear them, but it was awkward. It was an awkward interaction between me and this person, but you know what? It's okay. And I pushed it back, but also I wasn't telling myself that, oh my God, this, I wasn't saying all of these bad self-doubting things that nobody really thinks about and cares about anyway. And by the time when I finally noticed what happened, I actually ended up laughing about it. And I was really happy with myself because I haven't done that with myself in a while. I haven't laughed with myself like that after making a weird, awkward mistake in a while. And it kind of brought back the woman that I was before. And like I said, we have seasons and periods where we are confident and high and ready to go and we feel good. And then there are times when we don't. And I've been in a time, I've experienced both. And having that period where I just slow down and just really read the room and really see that I'm absolutely worthy of taking up space. I'm absolutely worthy of being myself. I'm absolutely worthy of awkwardness. It's okay. It's awkward. Yeah, it was awkward between that, but it's okay. It's okay. So that is another thing that I've done to help me with these wounds. And the final thing that I have done, and there are more ways and techniques that can help you with overcoming the father wound. And one of the biggest ones is the way I interact with myself, the way I am viewing myself as a woman, as a person, as a girl, and when I say a girl, I mean a young girl, the young girl that's inside me, the teenage girl, the adult, I give her compassion. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm my worst critic. I am. But I've been learning to be a little bit more gentle on myself and be okay and tell myself that it's okay. So I talk to myself differently. I look in the mirror and I tell myself, and this was something that years ago I was able, it's so crazy how, and you know what, I'll make that my next episode, and discussing like when you lose yourself, when you become buried under the debris. I'll make that an episode. I'll write that down. But okay, got about like 10 more minutes. So being able to change the way I talk to myself, change the way that I'm working on myself. Like, I work on myself internally, like, hard. Like, right? Like, if I had to describe the way I work on myself spiritually, like the way I work, the way I work out in the gym, I would say I'm benching about 550 right now. Like I am bench pressing about 550 in the gym on my spiritual work because I have to. I just have to. It happened one day and it just kept on happening. And I'm just like, I'm bench pressing 550. If not 550, I'm honestly probably bench pressing about 750 right now. Like, honestly, like I'm in that range. I am definitely in that range. And it comes from the work that I've been doing. But being able to sit with myself after I get out of the shower, I sit at my vanity, I sit in the mirror, I look myself deep within myself, and I tell this girl who she is. And I tell her how much I love her and how much I thank her because she is not only just my vessel, but she is my protector. She's my goddess. She's my mother. She's my father. She's me. You know what I mean? Like, she is me. And she deserves the good, like the good part of her. She deserves that part. She works hard, like, and I don't know, it's like if you ever really looked at yourself in the mirror and you really see yourself, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's something out of the world. And I don't know why, but I forgot. I think I elaborated on the outer body, but I hope I did on that part. It just came back in my mind. Today I have ADHD brain, and I hate saying stuff like that because it's just like I don't have ADHD. Well, I don't have ADHD, but my brain is just sometimes all over the place. But it's doing what it's supposed to do. And I'm showing up as me in this time and space, and that's okay. So it's just like having the outer body experience with you, slowing down that conversation that you have with another person, but now you're just doing it with yourself. And you're reflecting that slowdown, you're looking at it, and you're talking to yourself back rather than talking to another person. You're telling yourself what that voice, that is that small voice inside you is saying, that you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You are not too much. You've been dealt a bad hand. You're not broken. This is your purpose. Things like that, like just really just sitting down with yourself and looking at like, this is your life and it can be beautiful, and we just have to figure out a way to make it beautiful. Like, and being able to do that with yourself. And I would say those are my top 3 starting ways to start melting away that father wound, that wound that told you that you deserve nothing but avoidable love, that you are not worth, that voice that tells you that you are not worthy, the voice that tells you that you don't deserve, that you are too much, that all of those negative voices that started really when, somebody didn't choose you. And it might not even just be a father. It might be a person didn't choose you. And that's why I said it doesn't have to be specifically this. This is just how it has trickled into relationships with men for me. But it also has trickled into other relationships as well. And so those are the top my top 3 ways that how I've been, overcoming the father wound. And what really also helps is having a really good guy friend that you can talk to about these things, especially when you're able to have that comfortability and have that safety when you're talking to people about this, because they are also they're coming from from like a man's standpoint, and having understanding to your situation. And I think that also too would, and if you don't have one, that's okay. You work with what you work with, and that is okay. But if I'm telling you, if you want to specifically work on your father wound, the link is below in the description, and how you can you'll be able to purchase my workbook, my father wound, my shadow work workbook on father wounds and overcoming them, and just to get yourself started on the journey of not only just healing yourself, but healing the next generations of your bloodline and family. And I think I would definitely recommend it. The link is below. And I thank you guys again for listening. I already forgot what I was going to do with the next episode, but I will hear it back. And I remember what time I did it around. So I'll make sure that I put that out for next time. And anytime I do 2 parts, it'll be like a back-to-back day, most likely, at least until my schedule, as long as my schedule does not go crazy. But yeah. But thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.